Okay, so welcome to Twinning Up the House. Today's project is fence. So my chain link fence, see there, was damaged in the hurricane, and I'm just getting around to putting up this new wooden fence. I got an estimate to put up the fence with the 6x4 poles, which I'm coating in black. And they were confused by why do I want 6x4 poles? Well, because I like them better, and because in every hurricane I lose my fence. And to do it around my yard, all the way around, they wanted, hold your breath please, $12,000. So that ain't happening. So I'm going to be working my way around, slowly but surely, putting up a fence on my own. When I get to my back, back there, my neighbor and I are going to be doing it together, or at least his handyman and I. But for the sides, it's all me. So to get this started, I have put this in my posts. I've already gotten a little bit of a head start here. Concreting it in. Now the ones by the gate, I already did this one and buried it. But the ones by the gate, I'm concreting in with an entire bag of 50-pound concrete. This one is actually concreted to my footer, so I will really, really hate myself when I try to take this out, whenever that comes about. But I'll tell you what it's not going to do. It's not going anywhere. I have also hooked it to the wall with an L bracket because for insurance purposes, your fence is not covered unless it is attached to the house. And to have it attached to the house, all you have to do is have an L bracket. So my fence is attached to my house, so therefore it is covered should it go down again in a hurricane. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting up the fence, the gates. And so this is it just takes time and patience. First of all, you got to make sure that you get your posts level. Use your level to make sure they're nice and even and level, and you got to do lots and lots of measuring to make sure that they're the proper distance apart, especially before you concrete them in. So mine are, it's a double gate because it's easier for the lawn guy to get through and just to get things in and out of the backyard. But what I'm doing now is putting on the hinges, and I wanted to give you guys a video on this one. Now the way that I measured, my hinge is supposed to be like right up on top of there. So that's where they are. And when I put in hinges, what I do is I draw a line down the middle to make sure it's level, make sure this is all level, and then I put in my first hole. You drill the hole with the drill, and then put in your first bolt, because if your bolts are off, it's better to figure it out early than late. So I've put in my first bolt, and now I'm getting ready to put in my second. So this is all lined up with my line. Is it? Yes, it is. And I'm going to put this down in here, and I'm going to scratch out. You can use a pin or something else. I just like to use screws. That. Now I'm going to twist it out of the way, and I don't know if you can see that. It's right there. So now that that's right there, just a note, when you use a drill, it spins, right? And when you start to drill, it goes like a millimeter. So if I were to put it here, it would put my hole up here. So you always want to start right at, like, I call it, 7 o'clock on your hole. So you can see how it moved? So it moved. So that's why I do it that way. Now I'm going to drill a hole. Drilled. Alright, so then I put this up over here, take my bolt, I say, yay, my bolt fits. Please note I got a hammer because you bang them through. And now I'm going to put the mark on the next one. Now my drill bit is bigger than the holes for this, so, ooh, that's not in a good spot. So, I can't drill through it, so I'm going to have to take this one out. I really did do that right, didn't I? Yeah, it's this one right here. Put this, like I said, 8 o'clock. And just realized I got concrete underneath there. So I'm going to pull it over a little bit so it can slide on through. There's still concrete under there, so I'm going to slide it over farther. Now, the other thing I like to do when I'm doing bolts is I like overscrew. You can see I got concrete. So, I will usually do that when I'm doing bolts, kind of wiggling it around and twisting it a little bit, because that way it just gives it a little more space than, you know, what the drill actually makes. It makes it easier to get it in there. So now I've got all my screws, my bolts in, and I just bang them into place. Now, I'm going to make a note here. You do want your bolts to be rather tight, because then sometimes you can get by with not having to hold both sides. Okay, so there's like 9 billion different tools you can use for this next piece. I happen to be a fan of this kind of a ratchet. So once you banged them through, you put the washers on, you finger tighten these, and then you go and you tighten these down. Now, the note is that you can see sometimes it'll spin here. So when you see the screw spinning, what you need to do, my screw spinning, is you're going to need to reach around the other side of the fence with a pair of pliers, hold the head, and then tighten them up. And, yeah. These are all spinning, so I'm going to have to get somebody to help me with that because I've put this on here. But I did tighten them up pretty good earlier. But just once you have it hung, which I have it hung, you're going to want to just make sure they're nice and tight because those hinges are what's going to keep it from sagging. And sagging is when you put the whole thing on, you take your little stays out, and it just falls to the ground. Okay, so what I did is I propped this up on just tiles that I had laying around because my sidewalk's being busted up because we're going to get it redone. Just to keep it balanced before I screwed it in. Now, then I have screwed it into the post up there while my daughter Kendall held it tight. So it's nice and level. Want to make sure, one of the things I did is easier when you put up the second one. Because then you just hold them up together, figure out where you should put it, and then you screw it in. So that was all installed. And then the last thing I did is I put on the latches. Now I bought this latch for it, but it has a metal bar that goes in the middle, and I actually had to cut the metal bar because it was way too long. I don't know what kind of fence it's actually made for, but I just cut that metal bar, screwed it in, and it's a little tight. I'll probably have to work on that. Now it latches. So the last thing I did was install this bracket down here. I drilled a hole in the concrete with a giant mortar drill bit, and then screwed it on, and poof, fence, gate. So this is all on and in place, and I'm going to fill that in tomorrow, and then I will continue on around. Hey Lola. Okay, so this is all in. I'm happy with it, except for, I don't know, that latch just doesn't work like I want, and that thing at the bottom probably should have been like a foot longer. But, so I'm going to put in another bolt there, or latch at the bottom. So you'll only be able to come to the backyard if I unbolt it for you, or unlatch it. And so that's it. I mean, yeah, pretty good project. Like I said, that, I should have gotten the longer one. I may take it off, go back and get the longer one and replace it. But that's the project.